Dance with memory 待つことに慣れすぎて痛みさえ感じないの麻痺してるこだねてる刺激高いオーラまた求めてる視界ゼロの中あなたと繋いだ手のぬくもりに恋してとうとうと降り積もる雪にそっと手を伸ばして白闇を愛せるよりマイナスの世界で踊り続ける遠く意識に悪魔の手招きホワイトアウトお揃いだった頃の顔に捨てられすぎる黒のコーポも頭の中ももう真っ白で愛にしぼいの愛にし伝えたいあなた好みの服を着てあなた好みの趣味始めてあなた好みの日常で溢れているかな視界ゼロの中あなたと繋いだ手のぬくもりが恋しくてとうとうと降り積もる雪にその手を伸ばして白闇を愛せるよりマイナスの世界で踊り続ける一度の望みをかき消すノイズと届く
Hello everybody, welcome back to the 4Key Mania World Cup 2025, where we have a highly anticipated match between the Philippines and France. Two very close seeding, seed 14 and 19 respectively for these two teams. This match is sure to be a banger, so much so that I am probably going to be incapable of just doing this myself. That's why I'm joined by the one, the only, Nightcore. Nightcore, how are you?
Hello, Eliminate, and what a match we are seeing this weekend. It is going to be Philippines versus France, and as you said, it is a match that is highly anticipated for everyone pretty much. So we're just going to have to see how this turns out.
We will see indeed, and just going off the qualifiers alone, 3 out of the 7 maps that were played, these two teams were directly next to each other. Those 3 maps being Race 1, Hybrid 1, and LN2. That contains all 3 different category of maps, so if that's not an indication as to how this match is going to go, I have no idea what will be. This is going to be hopefully a back and forth between these two teams. Super unpredictable. Don't know what team's going to pick what, but if I had to make some guesses, I would assume maybe Philippines picking more into the race, as they did win on all 3 race maps in the qualifiers, but it was by the thinnest of margins, so this is really going to be a close one.
I think it's really just going to be coming down to what's comfortable with both these teams, because I think looking at the qualifier scores that they haven't really went for a freeway FC on most of the maps. So I think it's going to be what they're really comfy with, and when we see that, we're going to see how they do perform. And now we can get into our protects, and Philippines going into Rice Free, going to be Korjak for a protect. Very interesting, honestly.
Yeah, Race 3 being protected. This is not a map that you see in qualifiers. Qualifiers does not contain a Korjak pick, especially nothing like the Race 3 that you see in the round of 32. Race 3 being a much more awkward, uncomfortable Korjak pick, and France, on the other hand, choosing to protect Rice 1, the speed map. And the fact that both teams are opting to protect Rice, like I said, expectations thrown out the window. I've got no idea what's going to happen. France now choosing to ban LN2. This, I guess, is a bit unexpected considering Philippines actually did do significantly better on the LN1 in qualifiers, and the LN1 in qualifiers is much more release timing based. So I would have expected an LN1 ban, but maybe France just not feeling too comfortable in this LN2 in the round of 32.
Yeah, especially that Philippines does have some pretty prominent LN players, most notably Leslie Peninsula in the Badger clan, also known as Siluesca Els, being a very prominent LN player, taking gold in Mania LN Tournament 3 as well, if I do remember correctly as well. But they also have some other very strong LN players. Livet as well is one that comes to mind. And France also do have their very strong LN players. Who comes into mind really is going to be Flowerful, Darkview, and Koidex for the long notes. So, going to be interesting to see how they duke it out when it does come to LN. But with more Rice anticipated for some stuff as well, we can expect to see their side come out with the battle.
Like you said, both teams very well versed with LN and Rice, and it's really just going to come down to what maps have they practiced the most potentially, maybe what maps have they just felt more comfortable on, and Philippines choosing to ban Rice 5. So we get a Rice Protect, another Rice Protect, and then a Rice ban. So this goes back to exactly what I was saying at the very start. This is probably going to be a one team maybe picks into Rice, the next team picks into Rice, and maybe someone else picks into an LN. This is super unpredictable. In most of these matches, you can probably tell that this match is going to be, this team is better at Rice, and this team's better at LN, and it's going to be a constant back and forth until you drain out all the maps and potentially get a tiebreaker, one team chokes. But this match is not going to be anything like that whatsoever. And now it's Philippines' pick to start us off. Will they pick into their Protect or choose an LN? They go for Rice 6.
Rice 6 is a very reasonable pick for their starting. I think just start off with some of the Rice and nothing really else to say. I think there's some really strong Rice players who are capable of playing this. I think Silicosis is also making their debut, which I probably will expect to see for Rice 6 as well.
I guess this is a good way to test the Warriors here, Rice 6. Although if Philippines do underperform on this a bit, this might be a good segue for France to go straight into their Protect Rice 1. This map is pretty speedy, it's very bursty is the best way I can describe this. There's so many bursts, and to fill the gaps in between the bursts, it's got a lot of jack patterning as well. So maybe can show how good they're going to be on the jack pick, but there's really too much in this map to say.
There's a lot of choke points as well in this map, I might add as well. Having some free no gluts as well in between, and when we get into the key ice as well, you're going to be seeing a lot of those 300 BPM bursts accompanied by some of those trills and streams. So it's just pretty much a tech gauntlet of a map, and I think this is going to be our main lineup for our Rice. Valeria going to be getting in, Silicosis making their make debut as well for Philippines. I do believe their first year playing, and Vubsy, of course, being a very prominent Rice player. And I think this is going to be the lineup for France as well. Darkmew, Flowerful, and Stay for France, as to be expected for the Rice lineup.
This is already very scary team speak going head-to-head against each other. And this is only round of 32. This is just getting us started with the tournament. All players now ready as we get into this first map of the match. 2.5 minutes, 175 BPM, bursty, speedy patterns. And I think this is really just going to come down to who blinks first, right? Who's going to find those early misses? Who's going to find those early accuracy drops? If we see any at all.
Rice 6 is definitely a map you cannot tunnel vision. And is that Klein from Vubsy, or is that just a rough start? Okay, it's Klein.
Oh, okay, we see an early disconnect from France here. Probably going to get an abort. That was in the first 15 seconds. So, I mean, if those misses, I mean, obviously it was Client, but say it wasn't, shouldn't matter by now anyways. If we do see an abort, that is. And there is, yep.
Getting it in the early abort, probably not the best sign, but as Shades did say, something did happen, but we can just jump back into the map, I guess.
Just based on those first 15 seconds that we saw come out from the other 5 players, the accuracy, the ratio was already incredibly close. I did see a few 99.89s across the board. There were, I think, 2 or 3. So I have heard before that you can usually tell how a map is going to go based on the first 400 combo. I don't really think that's going to be the case with this one.
I really think, as you said, it's going to be whoever blinks first and finds that slip up. Because, especially in a map like Rice 6, where it's very bursty and very techy, finding a miss could lead to a chain of bad judgments, and it can pretty much spell doom. Because looking at Philippines and France with the Rice, like, you cannot falter when it comes to pretty much any pattern. But now we can get back in and start again.
Start again, start anew. Hopefully all players will do just as good as they did in the previous run. That was short-lived. Hopefully no early misses this time. Vubsy is actually the one to drop quite a bit of accuracy at the very start. Same with Silicosis, but it's still very early days. The accuracy will climb back up pretty quickly.
And here we are at the free no gluts on the 2 columns as well. You really have to go into this pretty early. You have to go into this at the right time, and Darkmew actually taking a small accuracy drop on one of those gluts. Because I was saying, if you do start hitting a bit early, that'll lead into a chain of more misjudgments, which could be pretty detrimental.
In a map that's only 2.5 minutes long, already cored the way through, and only now we're getting into what this map is truly meant to be, with Philippines holding only 1,000 to 2,000 score lead in their favor, and it's just not going to shift whatsoever. The main difference here is only going to be maybe about a 200 of a difference. One singular drop can be the game changer right now. That was so consistent.
Yeah, just looking at that, we've barely seen a score shift, and coming out the first drop, it is going to be Philippines to that slight accuracy advantage. Valeria, of course, taking the MVP right now to 99.9, but that could be subject to change when we do get into the second drop, where we do get a bit more into the bursts.
This score has been 1500 in Philippines' favor for the entire map. It only came down to that intro, and if we do see some accuracy drops, which I believe maybe we're going to see, but on the France side of things, Darkmew and Stay have dropped down below that 99.8% accuracy. When you look at Philippines, Valeria still hold on to 9.9. Does lose it eventually, but still 2,000, now 3,000 points in Philippines. A singular drop can change this right now. There's still a quarter of the map left to go. Maybe just around 30 seconds. Plenty of time for things to go wrong, but this is Philippines' first pick.
The map doesn't end until it does end. You still have to deal with some of those mini jacks and some of those free no anchors as well. Coming out to the end, Stay and Darkmew climbing their accuracy a bit back up, but compared to Philippines, their consistency does show a bit more on the end side. And I think if no other mishaps happen, they will be taking the money and running away with it as we do get to the final few notes. And that is going to be a 99990k from, I think, both teams, if I do believe.
Oh my goodness. What a match we are going to have. Look at this. The total amount of 200s seen in this lobby amounts to 6. 6 200s in total across all 6 players, with Stay hitting that one extra 100. But I mean, look at the ratio difference as well. This is so balanced that I think even if France had gotten one less 200, or maybe if Stay didn't get that 100, this could have been even a tied score. It was that close. And that's Philippines' first pick. That's the first pick. You'd assume this is the pick that maybe they're most comfortable on, besides their protect, potentially. So, France, this is basically a point that they can be winning on. And I think we're probably going to end up seeing some breakpoints later down the line if it stays this close.
Definitely a true test of consistency. As you were saying, this is only the first map, so we are in for a ride when it comes to the next picks. And now it's just up to France to see what they're going to be going for next. Anything is really on the board for them, so it's really just what they're comfortable with, because just both these teams are really well rounded.
France did protect Rice 1, so whether or not they go into that, I'm not too sure. They do opt for Rice 2 instead. I was gonna say, I'm not too sure about Rice 1 after that Rice 6. You could see that the ratios were that close, and speed being one of the harder patterns to ratio, maybe things can get just a little bit dicey. So they do opt for Rice 2 instead, the jump stream pick. This one should not be as difficult to ratio, but rather test consistency.
You also gotta watch out in a pick like this, because there are some 1/6 snappings scattered in this map as well, so you do have to kind of watch out for that. Not 100% tunnel vision, but I know that for these players, an early game map like this is probably something they can be able to act pretty easily. JKL actually getting subbed in for, I do believe, Stay, which I do know JKL is a pretty consistent player when it does come to Rice.
And if I do recall correctly as well, this map does have quite a few one-hand trills thrown in the mix, but there are also quite a few breaks as well. Very, very short breaks, just to ensure you have enough to keep yourself going, but under tournament pressure, knowing how good your opponents are, knowing how close the match is gonna be, that can really contribute to maybe misses or accuracy drops just like that. Maybe all these practice scores, they felt super confident, super comfortable, they're V1 double S'ing, but in this match, can you expect the same thing? Only time will tell. I'm not too sure myself.
It's really going to also come down to some of those nerves, because in a tournament setting, you just have to really control some of those nerves as well. But a lot of factors can be taken in when it does come to a pick like this. So we'll have to see, and as you said, some of those trills are going to be very brutal. And if there's any plays that any player would drop, it could probably be one of those.
Definitely can be. And, you know, saying that the breaks as well, give you that stamina and let you recover a little bit. That could also be your downfall, because sometimes you're really feeling the groove and you're into the map, and then a sudden break kind of catches you off guard, and your fingers want to keep moving, you know? The adrenaline surging through you. But actually, JKL finding this very... also decides to stop playing entirely. I hope we don't... I mean, I guess we're going to see another abort, but this is quite unfortunate to say the least. I'm unsure what's going on in this lobby today. This is pretty cursed.
Yeah, this might have to be our second abort, and you can even see their skin kind of glitching out a small bit, but we should try hope for an abort now. But as we can kind of talk for the map, is that a 5.99.9 at this moment? Actually, as I said, at live it, I think dropped a small bit of accuracy, but heading into the Ki, oh, did we get the abort?
That's horrible. That was almost halfway through the map, and I mean, you know, these tech issues happen. It's really unfortunate, but to have it twice in a row, something's going on here. Something very fishy. Maybe this multi-lobby's broken.
I was gonna say fishy as well. Maybe just that small mishap, but you know, I guess we should hope to not have any more aborts. But I guess for now we can just wait and see. And as you were also saying with the last abort as well on Rice 6, you can already see from the first half that a lot of those players are really consistent, seeing that 5.99.9 going into the first Ki. So we can expect similar performances like that, and you can probably tell it's going to be really close, and it's just going to be who falters first. Maybe get a bit of that tunnel vision as well.
I'm sure definitely something most players are familiar with. Tunnel vision, you're so locked in, especially under tournament pressure. You feel like, you know, everything's on the line right now. You need to take this point. Losing a break point this early is going to be pretty rough, but definitely recoverable, having already talked about how close this match is going to be. It's still not something that you really want to see on your first pick, a pick that should be your most comfortable one, but yeah, having such comfortable, consistent accuracy right through the gate, essentially. This I really don't know. I really don't know. It will come down to who drops that extra 200, extra 100. Maybe someone finds that miss. But based on that performance we saw before the abort just there, yeah, again, we're in for another close one.
Anything is definitely doable for this map. But now as we do get through the first quarter, heading into our first main section, is that disconnect from Livehood? Or probably just client again? But it doesn't really matter, we can just talk about this map. And the trills are raining in, and everyone is still holding on very consistent. Valeria and Flowerful just duking it out right now with that 99.91, as we still see a lot of those jump streams and some of those mini jump trills and some trills as well being scattered into the place, not really faltering at all.
Yeah, Livet, if Philippines are winning right now, Livet would need to have around about a 99.9-ish, just under 9.85 maybe. But that is something as I could definitely see being the case, but with only a quarter of the map left to go, we don't see any significant drops right now. This is purely the battle between Flowerful and Valeria right now. The accuracies so close together. Dark Mew with very good support. Silicosis and JKL very matched as well, so really comes down to how Livet is doing. Hopefully they are in fact playing and just having client problems.
Hopefully. And as we do get into the final area of the map where the hands are starting to roll in some of those anchors as well, Valeria actually getting their accuracy a bit up as well. Flowerful still on the 99.9 range. Anything can still happen. The 1-6 and the mini hand streams are rolling in, and that is going to be it. We hopefully do get that 6-way FC, but for now we have the 5-way full combo. And looking at these scores, get Flowerful and Valeria, 96 300s from Valeria, that V1SS, alongside Flowerful as well. We will just see who does get the point.
I'm looking at the MP link right now, and I don't think Livet's score was submitted, so maybe just connection issues, I guess. Hopefully, maybe they can get a screenshot or something. I'm unsure exactly as to how this process works, but maybe they can submit a screenshot of their score as proof. Maybe they can't. Maybe that point just goes to France. But unless Livet can match these scores, which I don't know. This one would have been super close.
I would definitely say that as well. Okay, so I think maybe after that, I think France actually did manage to get the point, so it went in their favor. But I'm not really too sure yet. Not looking at the MP link, but now it is gonna be Philippines for their next pick. And would they stick with Rice, maybe going into their Protect, or do they want to jump into different territory, go to Hybrid or LN? Both options are really feasible, but it's gonna be up to them.
Going back to that last pick, we're still unsure as to whether France actually won that point or not. Levet would have needed 992,639, so it's whether or not Levet got 992k that would determine that point.
Okay, so apparently Levet did finish the map according to Silhouette Els in the chat, so we should hopefully wait to see if they do sum up their score or not. So tension is building up a small bit as we do see the results. It depends now, because I think this score will be very close.
I mean, it's not something you can really predict, because Levet didn't play the first map either, so we don't know what form is Levet in right now. Could they have gotten 992, but even if they were in good form, it's also something maybe they found a miss at some point in the map. It's really not something we could say like, yes, France definitely should have won that, or Philippines definitely would have got that 992k. We will just hopefully get a screenshot coming in very soon from Levet, but I guess now, because we have time, we can talk about where Philippines most likely going to pick next. What do you think?
So I did say a bit earlier that maybe Rice Free could be a potential pick for them, going into their Protect maybe. Or if they do want to jump into LN or Hybrid territory, do know they have some pretty strong players. But I think maybe LN Hybrid might be a bit more risky compared to Rice, but I think anything is still pretty feasible.
I think anything is feasible too, but when I talked about this before with the Rice 6 performance, the ratios were super close, and Rice 1 was France's Protect. And I do think Rice 1 is going to be super close, that Philippines could actually pick Rice 1 France's Protect. Not that I'm saying it's optimal, I'm just saying it is actually an option. Rice 3, the Korjak map, that is Philippines Protect. Whether or not they opt to use that now, we could see that happen. And also LN1 I think is quite possible. Yeah, again, looking back at the qualifier results, Philippines did do very well in the LN1 in qualifiers on the LN timing-based map, and LN1 in round of 32 is not much different in that regard. So, oh, LN1, yeah, there we go. LN1 chosen by Philippines.
Alright, LN1, gonna be pretty interesting to see. Of course, looking at the seeding difference from qualifiers, I think this is gonna be a very strong pick for Philippines, but will their consistency be able to hold up? Pretty much playing this with your life on the line, not similar to Google Babies, but looking at this, I'm really interested to see how this does turn out. So Lively Pencil Silhouette L is going to be jumping in for Philippines as well. I would not be too surprised if we might see someone else, maybe Silicosis could play for this. And for France, I think maybe Flowerful will be jumping in instead of JKL, but that's just my presumption. Cortex also joining in for the LN, which I'm not really too surprised. They're also a very strong LN player.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sam. I'm sorry to go back about this, but Levet, just in case you missed it in chat, Philippines will be conceding that point, so the score actually is 1-1. Confirmed now. No more guessing. 1-1, Philippines pick, second pick, third pick of the match. And this one's probably going to be another banger, but saying that, this is new territory. This is LN1. Maybe we see France have a weakness on this map. Maybe we see the opposite. Maybe France have really practiced this one. Maybe we're underestimating France's capabilities in this one. Not something we can really say for sure.
Well, I think time will definitely tell when we do get into the map, so we'll just have to see.
This lobby's had so many disconnects. I hope we don't see another one 3 times in a row. Surely not, right? Surely not.
I really doubt. Especially now that I don't think any more aborts will be given, as I am seeing in the client chat. So gonna be pretty nasty to see another disconnect or technical issue. So we can just jump into this map and gonna see how things will turn out for both these teams.
And this map is one of the short maps in the pool as well, sitting at 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The other maps played so far have been around 2.5 minutes, so blink and you miss it, folks. Leva actually dropping quite a few 200s in that intro.
I think this will definitely be a map that some players will find a few 200s on, especially that is more the coordination, where a lot of players are a bit more prone. Coming out the intro is going to be slightly favouring Philippines right now with the accuracy from Els and Plana right now, but this is just the intro, so when we do get into the Ki, we're going to be a bit more dense and going to be a bit more bursty. We'll have to see how the score will fare.
And this is what we were saying about that LN coordination accuracy. Look at Plana and Libel Peninsula. 99.85%. Both of them tied for accuracy and the highest in the lobby by a whole 0.1%. Really bringing the lead towards Philippines here. Climbing up to 5,000. Already halfway through the map. Like I said, this is a pretty short map, so to have a 5,000 lead this quickly, I think France are really going to need to either step up the game or hope that Philippines finds a drop somewhere in the map.
It will have to be in the second half, but we'll just have to see if these players will be able to hold up when it does get to more the denser parts of this map in the final Ki. Very well balanced right now in France, but when you just look at the accuracy of Philippines, France definitely have to step up their game a bit, as you did say. But maybe even keeping on to that consistency as well. Maybe the Philippines could find a miss and it could swing over towards France, but when we do get into the density section, it might not seem like it.
Doesn't seem like it indeed. There's still a core of the map left to go though. Maybe about 20 seconds remaining. A single drop can be the game changer here, but everyone looks to be so consistent. There's not long left now, just the outro. Unless we see a collapse in Philippines right now. This looks like it'll be going to them. They did have a substantial lead from the very start, and it's only been climbing until the very end. And Philippines, I'm shocked to say this, but this has been the biggest lead so far for either team. Philippines 6,500. Look at the 200 count difference yet again.
That is very minimal. That is actually very impressive. 3 1x200s from Els, Plana, and Dark Mew. It is really just going to be coming down to that consistency, and as you were saying, I think the LN maps are a bit more of a risk just because of how close the scores will get, and the fact that the score difference is only around 7,000 points. You know you're in for a long match.
And I think Philippines looking so good in the LN1 with their ratio being much better than France's on the LNs. They might feel a bit safe picking against that LN3 as well as their next pick. Whereas France now, what do you pick? I mean, you won on race 2, but was it deserved? Or, we don't know, right? Because 992k difference could have been possible. So that was very, very close, very sketchy. But France will keep it going. They'll pick into race 1. Regardless of the performance on race 6, but really knowing how close it's going to be regardless, you're kind of stuck for picks right now. I mean, we've yet to see hybrids. Hybrids were, I believe France actually won the hybrids in qualifiers, so the fact that we're not seeing any is quite interesting, but maybe just not feeling super great on the LN stuff right now.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that point as well. See, you don't really know as well what they won qualifiers, where, you know, some slight mishaps did happen. And especially that the pool is a bit easier now. They might just not want to risk going into some of the more accuracy core oriented stuff. But now jumping into our stream pick, I am pretty understanding on why France did pick something like this. Though I think maybe something like Race 4 could also be picked maybe later down the line. And for France, I think it's going to be Koidak Starkview and JKL going in for... Wait, hold on. Looks like maybe Flowerful is going to be jumping in as well.
Yeah, and I just think it's interesting that we're now 4 maps in, and we're only now seeing a Team's Protect get chosen. So I think they maybe protected these maps to guarantee that they have it available if they need it, and really just see how their opponents are doing on just certain pairings in general. That's why maybe they picked Rice, Rice 6 first. So, I'm not gonna say I know what their strategy is, but that's just what I'd have to assume. Only now going to Rice 1. Philippines still have Rice 3 protected in the bag if they want to. But, like I said, their performance in LN1 makes me think that they might pick LN3 next. But they still have Rice 3 available.
Yeah, so I think it's still kind of unclear on what they might go for their next anticipated picks. But as we do get into the match, it looks like Silicosis, Valeria, and maybe for now, I maybe think Vobsy might be a viable option for going in for Rice 1, but we'll have to see.
I definitely agree. We've seen Vobsy hop in the lobby before for these Rice maps, and he did get a very good score on the Rice 6, but we do in fact see Yvette instead.
Pretty good option as well after seeing their performance on the previous picks. So I guess now with all players in the lobby, we can just get started.
I mean, from Levette, we've only actually seen the LN1, so how well they'll do on Rice is yet to be seen, I guess. So hopefully they can do well. I assume they will, being as they're in the lobby. Of course, both teams should have practiced this pool by now. They know who's going to be playing what, they know who's good at what, and these are the rosters that have been selected. Now, how close this match is going to be, I would bet it's going to be within that 6,500 difference that we saw.
Oh, 100%. It will just really have to come down, and I think even a 200 could just swing things over towards the other side. Silicosis is actually holding on to that 100% for the first 100 notes as well, but this map pretty much still throws everything at you. Some of those split jumps, some of those trills in the streams as well. Gonna be kind of more that kind of bursty map, I would say, when in the Ki. And Darkby finding that drop early on as well. Not really gonna be too feasible, especially with the drain time only being around 2 minutes.
It's still very early days though, so missing early is definitely the better place to be missing if you're going to miss anywhere in the map, but very significant early lead given to Philippines. Now this map, like you said, does have some weird patterns thrown in the mix. This does contain quite a few mini jacks as well, and like this does have a short break that doesn't really feel like a break with the parents that still keep going, get thrown at you halfway through the map now. The lead is still sitting at around 10,000 points. I think at this point we're going to need to see Philippines miss, which we do. Silicosis does trade it back. Now the lead, I would assume, is going to be balanced, going to be even between these two teams now. It's going to come down to the second half. Who finds his accuracy drops? Who finds any additional misses?
I just think overall the accuracy to Philippines, I just think it doesn't really matter as much, although the miss was pretty detrimental. Heading into the break where Silicosis is going to catch the breath a small bit up to the 400 combo cap. I think, as you said, if we're going to be seeing any more accuracy drops in the Philippines, we'd see the score over towards France's side, but we'd have to see in the final Ki. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that awkwardness, some of those free note patterns as well later, so we're going to have to see. Livehead finding that drop as well is going to switch over to France.
Can all these players hold on for the last section of the map? This is where the map peaks in density. This is ultimate speed spam thrown constantly for 2 minutes straight, and everyone gets through it. There's still about 10 seconds left to go. A singular miss from France can't change it, but that's most of the difficulty out of the way. Only a couple seconds left to go. Silicosis with another miss that is going to seal the deal. France barely taking that right at the very end, and yet again, 6,500 points of difference. This is the exact same difference that we saw in the LN1, and Philippines, I mean, they won on ratio, they won on 200 count. This just came down to the misses.
Philippines actually getting 2 V1 double S chokes, and actually a V1 double S as well. But looking at the side of France, Starfall's still getting that V1 double S. Had those misses not happened on Philippines side, they would have taken that point easily. But still, just looking how close it was, maybe some of the players did falter a small bit.
That was such a close pick. I mean, Philippines are winning that for a majority of that pick, and This is what I did say that. I did mention this. That after that Rice 6 performance, I'd be a bit worried to pick into Rice 1 there. France just saying, you know, we don't care about what happened in Rice 6, right? We know that we can perform on Rice 1. We know that we have the combo advantage because we're just much more comfortable on these types of maps, and that did really prove to be the case, with France only having 1 miss and Philippines having 2 players finding those misses. But now there's only 2 Rice maps left in the pool to go, and Philippines having protected one of them. And this is also what I said earlier, choosing into LN3. After the LN1 performance, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. But now there's no more LN maps to go through for Philippines. I think they're forced into their hybrids after this, unless they do opt for their Protect Rice 3.
That kind of raises my eye a small bit, especially that, you know, that France did perform better on the qualifiers when they come to some of the hybrids. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of this match does play out. But for now, we can just go on to LN3. Very Jack oriented when it does come to LN, and some technical patterns as well. Being around 2 minutes of drain time, you cannot afford any breaks.
Yeah, this map does change a lot in snapping. The LNs are very offset. I believe the snap changes quite frequently between 1.4, 1.6, and 1.12. And I know that the ending is also much denser than the rest, so we're in for a ride on this one. That's all I could say. LN1 being very excuse me, being very release focused, with this map having the offset LNs, having that release accuracy can prove detrimental in this one.
It's really just going to be coming down to who does find some of those extra 200s or finds that miss first. But now we can only expect to see what happens when the map does get started, and cannot wait to see how this one turns out.
I still find it crazy that the biggest score lead we've seen between these two teams is 6,500. This is a match to be seen. This is a match of all time, and this is only round of 32, folks. Still much more to come.
Definitely yet to see the climax, and here we go, already kicking in the match with a lot more of those shields. Actually, outside the intro does go over towards Philippines, as Koidex is a slight bit behind when it does come to some of the accuracy, but we'll have to see later on. Small bit of a late start, but when we do get into the Ki, it is going to be raining down on everything.
Raining down indeed. This map is 1 minute 59. I believe this is the shortest map in the pool, correct me if I'm wrong. So a lot can happen in this short amount of time. And what I was talking about, the LN accuracy is favored towards Philippines, but only by about 2,000 points here. Still only halfway through the map. There's still the ending to go, and the ending, as I said, is probably the hardest section of this map. But leave it finding a miss actually on the slow section. That's uncharacteristic.
That is one of the more significant places to find a drop, but we still have the ending, the second half, where it is going to be jumping in more of those scatters, and of course we have the ending, which is going to be more of those 1/8 bursts as well. So Liva cashing back up to their max combo. Accuracy still actually favoring France, as Flowerful and Darkme both on that 99.8. If they can just keep holding on, Silhouette Girls finding that miss near the end. It's going to be coming down to the last quarter.
We might see a breakpoint here given to France. As long as they can hold on to their combos, they're allowed to drop accuracy at this point. It's only 7,000 points of difference, but accuracy isn't going to be the game changer. It's going to be those misses. Philippines can try as they bite to bring it back with accuracy alone. It's now down to 6,000, but with only about 5 seconds of the map left to go, this seems very unlikely unless they miss on these offset LNs, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen. France combo the rest of the map. 3 full combos on the side of France. Take the first breakpoint off of Philippines. The first breakpoint in this map. In this match, sorry. And yet again, the ratio difference between these two teams, so incredibly close, but Philippines still takes it on the difference between Plana and Koidex. But I mean, look at the 200 counts on just even all these players. Levat and Flowerful with the V1 SS, Lively Peninsula with only 1 200. Philippines definitely saying they are a strong LN team, but unfortunately, yet again, just like the Rice one, came down to those misses in the end.
Definitely going to be very consistency based, as, I mean, especially this map only being 2 minutes long, you could definitely see from that miss, it was going to be pretty much binding the result. But now, with France having the world in their hands right now, getting their next pick, would not be too surprised if maybe they'd be jumping into Rice 4.
I would also expect Rice 4, maybe even a hybrid, but Rice 3 is also still on the table. The fact that Philippines haven't picked it yet could mean something. Maybe it's like a bait protect, right? Maybe there was actually kind of a fake ban to influence France into not picking it, right? This is definitely a strategy that we've seen time and time before. But France, I think with how Rice 1 and Rice 2 have gone, how close those two have been, I actually think that this next pick for France is going to be scary regardless of the pick. I think Philippines have definitely got a shot of taking back another breakpoint right now on this next pick.
Also, I do believe it is Planet's birthday today, so happy birthday, Planet, as well. I think France are going to be playing that timeout as well, according to Dark Mew in the chat as well. But
Birthday World Cup. Definitely interesting. Not something you see very often, right? Because people don't really announce this stuff, and some things are also scheduled out of the birthday because people are busy. But Planet, I guess the World Cup is a gift in and of itself, right?
Yeah, and what better birthday gift to be getting with this very anticipated match and this very strong match and really amazing match.
We had this timeout from France here. As I said, I think all these picks are going to be very sketchy, very close regardless, so maybe just unsure what to pick. I do agree with you on this one. I do think Race 4 might be the preferred option here, but then again, France did win on all the hybrids in the qualifiers, so maybe something like a hybrid 1?
I can definitely see Hybrid 1 being picked as well. Really, just anything. I think definitely Rice 4 and one of the hybrids if they would be going for their final two picks.
I'm personally not a fan of Hybrid 2. Hybrid 2, I think, is more LN release focused than the other hybrids, and that's probably something they want to avoid right now, considering what happened in LN 1. But then they did take LN 3 as well. There's just too many factors to weigh into this right now, and there's too many decisions, and one wrong decision can cost you this match right now. So ultimately, you need to choose what's best, and choosing what's best, not the easiest of tasks right now. Probably going to be need to be a gamble on the French side of things.
Yeah, they definitely have to play their cards right if they do want to capitalize off their picks. So now we are just still awaiting, and the tension just building up pretty much. Like, you don't really know what's happening. Like, are they going to be strategizing for the next few picks?
Philippines have also got their timeout to use as well, so maybe if things don't go their way on this one, they do go for Rice 4. You were correct on that one, Lightcore. Rice 4, the tech map of this pool. This one I would say is actually very chokeable though, so I think if this is one of the Rice maps to see another breakpoint happen on, this is that one to happen. But France have been looking way too consistent on the combo side of things. They've been out-comboing Philippines on almost every map. On every map, actually, not almost every map. Every map we've seen so far, France have won purely on combo. So I think they should feel pretty good about this one, maybe.
Absolutely, and especially that Rice 4 is technically more of the tech consistency pick as well. I would not be too surprised if they'd be able to capitalize off this pick, but time will still tell, because we have seen a few drops from some of the players in the previous picks. But I think if they could just shake the dust off their boots a small bit, they will be able to gain off this.
Yeah, and the mini jacks in this map, very, very scary. Constant, repetitive mini jacks in this map with almost all speed-oriented last quarter of this map. This map being a tech map, especially one map by Pizza69. I'm sure we all know him by now. This is a crazy map. This is one that really gets the adrenaline going, right? And this is one that I think is going to be very important for France to combo on. If there's one map that you need combo right now, it's this one. Philippines are going to really need to lock in on this one, and if we do end up seeing a 6-way FC on this, I think Philippines will actually take this point based on how comfortable their ratio has been looking so far.
Yeah, Philippines' tech ratio is something else to be reckoned with. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how things turn out. Going to be seeing Life at Valeria and Vulpsy on the side of Philippines. I'm going to be seeing Januous as well making their debut, I do believe, into the France side. Correct me if I am wrong.
All players ready up, and yet again we do see another 2.5 minute map. Only 4.5 stars, that is the star ring doing its work right there. Definitely a 4.5 star this one.
Yep. And with the map starting, which is totally 4.5 star, we can get into it. And yeah, you're just going to have to be on your toes for everything. A lot of 300 BPM bursts, some free no anchors as well. I know, never mind. Going to be more 200 BPM stream bursts.
Yeah, this one has plenty of mini jacks and plenty of speed parents as well. Also got quite a few one-hand trills thrown in the mix. I'm assuming that was a client miss from Levet, but maybe it was in fact a very early miss, not something you'd want to see. But yeah, again, as I said before, early misses are preferred over missing in some random place in the map. But I do believe that was an actual miss, so very slight lead given to France already.
If France can pretty much just hold on, they will be able to snag this point off pretty simply. But we'll have to see when we do get into the rest of the map. Again, France are still somewhat prone to missing, but they still have the consistency advantage over Philippines. But we'll have to see when the map does climax in more that difficulty range.
This is only the intro, and it only gets faster from here. Philippines have worked back that lead a little bit, from 3,000 down to 2,500, so definitely showing that they can out-ratio France when needed to. Valeria still at 99.93 and Vulpsy just shy behind 99.92. Both of them ahead of all the French players. So really only at this moment in time down to Levet's early miss. Which if they hold up that ratio, it will go back to Philippines. There is definitely enough time for that to happen. It's just whether or not they can hold on.
We will have to see. And here we are getting into our main aspect of the map. Going to be more of those mini jacks, some of that broken jump stream and hands, accompanied by the flams and rolls. It's actually shifting over towards Philippines now, as all the members in France taking that slight accuracy drop. Dartmouth going down to 99.8. It is shifting over towards Philippines, and as the climax still gets to be reached, we are heading into the next I don't know.
He doesn't know, but this lead has went from 3,000 in the French's side from 3,000 to 3,000 to Philippines. And that's only based on accuracy alone. We don't see any extra misses, but there is still this speed-based ending that we need to get through. And this map's like 2.5 minutes long. It's only outro at this point. If we don't see any more misses, Philippines are going to end up taking a back-to-back breakpoint. France taking the first one, now Philippines on the Rice 4 of all maps that it could have been on. This was the map that we thought France would have in the bag based on their combo consistency advantage. But Philippines, they locked into this one. And this is what we said needed to happen on this map. Philippines needed to lock in. And they locked in 2 V1 double S's on the Philippine side, and Levet only finding that one miss in the first 20 combo.
This is the comeback story Philippines needs right now. Getting back with that equalizer, and just looking at that accuracy, 95 300 from Valeria, and also a V1 double S from Vulpsy as well. And here we are, Philippines jumping into their protect. Gonna be Rice free, gonna be our core jack pick, gonna be the tension rising in this.
And I think with this map being chosen, there's no more Rice maps in the pool. No more Rice, no more LN. Regardless of who wins this pick, France is going to need to pick into a hybrid, which I would say is actually optimal for them, because as we've been discussing before, qualifiers, France done really well in the hybrids. And the fact that they've not opted into a single hybrid yet is a little bit concerning, but they have been doing really well in the Rice as well. But I think that last map is definitely an indication as to maybe France need to change their strategy a little bit. They did win LN3 after all. But Philippines going into Rice 3, Core Jack. I guess Core Jack is quite similar to the Rice 4 that we just saw, with loads of mini jacks, but this one is more jump jack focused with very awkward Core Jack patterns, so it's not quite the same, but you can get a kind of feel for it. And the Philippines are just being better on the ratio side of things right now. Core Jack, as we all know, is sort of a ratio game, so this might be a good pick, but also super risky at the same time.
We will have to see if their consistency holds up, because even in a Core Jack pick, a 200 could be pretty much seen as a miss as well. So I'm very excited to see how this one turns out, especially just with the sheer awkwardness of this map. And of course, if you have played this map as well, you know that the map does climax in difficulty when we do get near the ending, with less breaks and more density.
Also, this map is 2 minutes 58 seconds, cut version, somehow, someway, 142 BPM. Not exactly too low, but I wouldn't say it's fast either. This is a very comfortable BPM. I'm sure all these players should be pretty fine on this, but it really comes down to just the patterns and also the fact that we are now 7 maps in. The nerves these players must be having, knowing that one of these teams after this pick will be on match point. There is a lot on the line with this one. I think Philippines probably, this is a must-win point for them. This is their last pick that they're gonna get. If they lose this, they will need to take another breakpoint off France on one of the hybrids as well.
It's definitely a really tough task to do, especially after France's hyper consistency for the qualifiers. So tension is at an all-time high when we are getting into this pick. And we'll just have to see when we do start off. Even coming down to a few 300s as well, finding a flurry of 300s could be the deciding factor as well.
If we do see 6 FCs in this lobby, it might come down to a singular 200. If we see 6 V1SS's, might come down to a singular 300, who knows. But this is just the intro. This intro isn't too Jack focused. There's a lot of places that you can drop 300s on with the sort of trilly kind of patterns in this section, but very quickly we will get into what makes this map a Rice 3 map.
And here we are getting into the first Ki with some of those free-no anchors on the awkwardness of these patterns as well. No one really faltering, still a 6-way 99.9 right now, but that might be subject to change when we do develop more into the map. Everyone still looking at that unstable rate, very, very slim, and the score is still by 3 digits as well.
Only one player in this lobby below 99.9%. Everyone else is still above the 99.9, but look how Philippines are looking right now. 2 players 99.96, the highest in the lobby. Valeria tied with Flowerful, 99.94%. Twinios and JKL are gonna need to increase their ratio just a little bit. But then again, there's only 1,000 points of difference between these two teams halfway through the map. One singular 200, one 200, one miss. Anything in this map can change the score lead entirely, and there's still half the map to go, a minute and a half of more of this Core Jack. And like you said, the ending is where the true difficulty comes out in this map.
Actually, coming out of that Ki, JKL and I don't even know how to say that name, Johnny S. Actually dropping a small bit of accuracy underneath that 99.9 range. Gonna be hurting France a small bit, especially in a Core Jack pick like this. But anything could still happen. The density is still climbing up a bit. Gonna be seeing some of those anchors on 2 columns as well when we get into this area of the map.
The nerves these players must be experiencing right now. A singular miss is the be-all end-all. With only the ending to go, 4,000 points difference. Philippines have worked up that lead on ratio alone, and look at Volpsy now. Works way back up to 90.97. Flowerful as well working their way back up. This is really... there's not enough time for ratio to make a difference right now. We're going to need to see a drop from Philippines if France are going to take this point, and there's not long of the map left to go, just the outro at this point.
Johnny is finding a small bit of fatigue, finding that small more accuracy drops, but when we do get into the ending of the map where the density is still going to be riling up, if no one, I don't think a miss is going to be that much even to get the score difference back. As we do get to the ending, we're going to be seeing that 6-way full combo. And wait, hold on. Okay, that's nearly a 6-way V1 double S, 50 300s, and actually a 3-way 2-digit 300 count from Philippines as well. This is the win they needed for this pick. It's now going to be Philippines on match point, and now going to be France deciding their next pick.
That is a core jack lobby right there. Only one 200 amidst all 6 players. One singular 200 and 4 players in this lobby with double-digit 300 count. This is as close as it gets, right? That's Philippines' pick. Now there's one pick left to get through. France's pick. They're forced into a hybrid. Hybrid 1, hybrid 2, hybrid 3, all still on the table. My guess would be a hybrid 1. That would be my assumption. I don't think hybrid 2 is a very great pick personally, but maybe hybrid 3. France do have options.
Well, I think with the way that Philippines actually, correct me if I'm wrong, France took a breakpoint on Night Feeder, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I think maybe even Hybrid 3 might be a bit feasible, as it does share similar aspects into tech. So I think maybe Hybrid 3 is going to be the one that's going to get picked, if France can keep up with their tech LN consistency.
You are right, actually. France did up to ban LN2, which is very jump streamy LN, and Hybrid 1 does contain quite a bit of the same thing, right? So maybe Hybrid 3 is the play, but I can see Hybrid 1 being chosen.
We will just have to see either the red pill or the blue pill. Or if they want to go for the green pill, I guess, in Hybrid 2. But I doubt Hybrid 2 will be the one that's getting picked.
And this is probably really scary for France as well. Not having played any of the hybrids so far in this match, they're unaware as to how Philippines might perform on these maps, and you're forced into picking one. You are forced, France, and they do go for hybrid 3. Distant relatives. This map is going to be close. Everything on the line right now. France need to win this point, take us a tiebreaker. This is round of 32 though, so if they do lose this, they will lose the match, but not eliminated from the tournament, so I guess this isn't tournament life on the line. This is just progressing to the winner stage round of 16, but still a very important match. You do want to stay in the winner's bracket for as long as possible to make life easier.
The tension is still raising, and potentially still not at the roof yet if France do manage to win this pick. Going to be Flowerful Dartmere and Janius as well. And going to be on the Philippines side live at Siloesca Els, also known as Live Peninsula, and Plana for Philippines. Going to be very interesting to see how this match turns out, especially that is kind of more wildcard techie hybrid, so going to be pretty much a test of everything.
Yeah, I think this map is also quite speedy as well. There's a lot of patterns in this map. There's just way too many. There's so much going on, and then following it up with the LN as well, making it increasingly difficult to get good accuracy on. This is going to be a pick that I said on Rice 4 that Philippines are going to really need to lock in on that one. I think for Hybrid 3, it's going to be the other way around. I think France are really going to need to lock in on this one, which they have been doing so far in this match. They've been full comboing almost every map that we've seen so far. If they can do the same here, I think we will be seeing a tiebreaker, but this map, 2.5 minutes long, we will have to just wait and find out.
Getting into the start, and Johnny is actually having that small late start, getting down to that 99.6 range, but the map doesn't really throw you into any easy part before jumping in, as you're still seeing a lot more of those technical scatters and some of those mini jacks. But Johnny is finding a 100 off the intro as well. It's going to be hurting France when we do get into the rest of the map.
It's still very early on though, and it's only going to add up to 1,000 points in Philippines' favor, but that might prove crucial. That one singular 100 at the very start of the map, but the accuracies between all the other players are almost identical. It's just too early to tell at this point.
Yep, coming off the first quarter, and yet we still have the main Ki to get into, where it's going to be raining down a lot of those trills. So we could see a potential score flicker over towards the other side. But just looking at the overall accuracy from Philippines, the lowest being 99.7 by Els, it's going to be very interesting to see if France will be able to keep up.
I've been thinking this entire time about how to pronounce this player's username. Gionius? I have no idea. But they have dropped an extra 200. But I believe Philippines have also dropped quite a bit of accuracy as well. The lead is... well, it did shrink momentarily, but now it's sticking at around 3,000. But this is where the difficulty really comes into this map. And look at the lead. It's slowly going towards France here. The accuracy just being that slight bit better on the French side of things. A quarter of the map left to go. And if France can keep up this game, then they will take the lead back. But it's just going up and down. They're very indecisive. We're going to see some accuracy drops from Philippines. We see a miss from Plata. Now France just need to hold on to their combo as long as they can. For the rest of the map, there's not much map left to go. That one miss might save them here. We might be seeing a tiebreaker on the back of that one miss alone. Can all players call up with the rest of the map? There's not much left, but Flowerful finds that miss. Flowerful trades it. Is there enough time? There is. Philippines takes the point in the last 5 seconds of this map.
I'm in shock.
Goodness.
Oh my god, that ending made that final decision. Flowerful finding out miss at the very end. It is going to be Philippines getting their way into the round of 16 winners bracket in a very close match decided by just a few points. Well done to all players. Very hyped up match, very well performed by all 6 players.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Flowerful missing within the last 5 seconds of that map is what cost them a tiebreaker. But overall, it is a team performance at the end of the day. We could not say it was Flowerful's fault. Philippines played phenomenally well and ultimately took the game 5-3 in a match that I believe there was only one map, Race 3, that wasn't within that 6,500 score difference. Every single map that was played in this lobby today was incredibly close, only came down to a singular miss, in some cases only a few 200s. This match could have definitely went either way. Philippines just playing that slight bit better today, ultimately beating out France and now moving on in the winners bracket to face South Korea in the round of 16.
Eyes peeled definitely out for that matchup. And going to be very interesting as well to see France perform in the losers bracket next week. They will be a team to fear when it does come down to the losers bracket as well.
Yeah, and saying that, they will be facing Finland as well. Finland, just in case you missed the match earlier, Finland did play against South Korea, and they put up a really good fight. For a Seed 30 team, Finland is definitely one to look out for. So Finland versus France here, that is going to be a match to watch. Definitely don't miss out on that next week. I believe we still have a few more matches in this round of 32 to go through before the map pool showcase later on tonight. But I just want to say congratulations again to both teams. You both played very well, and congratulations more so to Philippines for making it through. France obviously still out the tournament, and I'm really interested to see how far you guys can make it.
So we're going to have a double stream next day. It's going to be Japan versus Argentina and Indonesia versus Italy. I think those matches will be pretty close, I would say, especially Japan versus Argentina, which is going to be happening in an hour. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and just, this is something that needs to be mentioned. Obviously, we are in the World Cup now. Have you ever wondered, how can I support my favorite country while also looking swag in the process? Well, look no further. Osu Banners have got your back right there, my friend. For the incredibly low price of just $2.50 USD, you can swag out your profile more than you ever have before. Not only that, by the way, you can buy multiple. You can support the same country several times. You can support every country that's participating in the World Cup, as many as you want. Go crazy with it. With only a few clicks of your mouse, you can support the World Cup, support your team, support your favorite country, all that jazz. And if the country you support wins the World Cup, you get to keep that banner on your profile for the whole year until next MWC.
Quite the investment, I would say. If you just ever want to make your profile a bit more fabulous, glamorous, it's even cheaper than a meal at McDonald's or Weatherspoons. So, might as well go out and get that, show your flair, because OC banners pretty much last for a lifetime.
One could say. But that is going to be it for this match. We will see you 55 minutes from now on the A stream where we'll get Indonesia versus Italy. But also don't forget there is also a B stream where we'll be seeing Japan versus Argentina. So we will see you for 55 minutes from now. Take care.
Goodbye.